Hi, I'm Heather Forbes, and I'm an author and a speaker. My specialty is working with children who have been impacted by trauma, many of whom have either been in foster care or adopted. I've written several books on working with children both in the family and in school. Our kids really struggle in the classroom many times because they live at a high level of anxiety. And when kids live in a high level of anxiety, they become easily overwhelmed. And that is because their histories have been fraught with disruptive relationships, transitions, a lot of change, a lot of chaos. And so their internal systems are not calm, and they actually don't have a very good ability to be able to calm them down. And that's not just the little kids, it's also our teenagers that have a very hard time being able to self-regulate as well. So the result is, in the classroom, you will see kids who are anxious, who have a difficult time paying attention, are disrespectful sometimes, the ones who are outwardly expressive in their behaviors, but also the students that are inwardly expressive, meaning that they sort of shut down. They might come into the classroom, just put their hoodie on and ignore the teacher, ignore the rules, which can be pretty maddening for a teacher if she doesn't understand what's going on. And unfortunately, we have then tagged these students to be the ones that maybe have problems with authority. We put names and labels of their attention-seeking behaviors, and we've looked at it from a very negative standpoint, not really understanding that the underlying issue really is anxiety. They need support around that. That's going to be very important to make sure we don't see it as a behavioral issue, but more as a regulatory issue. Another issue with children in the classroom that have been adopted and any type of trauma in their histories is that there's a big level of self-rejection. Because if you've lost your family, then you're automatically going to assume that you were the bad child, that you are stupid, that you're not okay. This plays out in the classroom then when a child has a challenging assignment or a homework assignment that they don't really know what to do. And so they don't have confidence in themselves. They don't know that if they just put a little bit of effort, they can't trust adults enough to understand that the adult is trying to help them. And then all of a sudden what you have is a lot of disruptiveness where the child is talking back and kicking and screaming sometimes and throwing things because they're so scared of doing an assignment, because the assignment is going to show that they really are stupid, they're really not okay. And so it's not always just the academic piece. We have to look at the social and emotional piece that is going on behind the defiance to understand how to move in and help and support these children. Academically, our children can be very advanced in certain areas because they've been in survival. Cognitively, they can be brilliant. They can seem like they are geniuses. But then in other areas, academically, there's big deficits. And so it's very hard because most of their students in the classroom will be very consistent in their understanding. But our kids have pockets of brilliance, pockets where they don't understand, but yet pockets that they are very well advanced. So this can be very frustrating for a teacher because at one level, this child may seem like a genius, but on another level, they may seem like they're just misbehaving or being defiant, that they won't do something. It's really that they don't know. The other thing that we need to look at when we see a child from an academic perspective is not just how much they know the material. Their ability to recall information, their ability to process, their ability to memorize is all going to be dependent on one very important factor, and that is, are they regulated? So on one day, a student may be able to add 1 + 1. All right, that's 2. But on the next day, if you have a student that is completely dysregulated, their mind is not working, it's more like a cobweb, and they may say, oh, 1 + 1, well, that's 11. Because they're putting 1 + 1 together. And so we see that maybe you knew it yesterday, but you don't know it today. Again, it's not about defiance, it's not about their inability to participate, it's really about a regulatory issue that's going on inside, internally within them. If you are not regulated, you cannot learn. It is that simple. And so every intervention, everything that we look at for our children that have been impacted by trauma, the number one goal is, how do we help this child regulate? Because once that child is regulated, then we can go in with the academics and the social and all the other things that happen in the classroom. But the number one priority is absolutely about regulation. So there's a lot of things we can do to help our children be able to regulate in the classroom. The first thing is to make sure that students have the ability to feel emotionally safe. Emotional safety comes through connecting in relationship. So we want to help our students have at least one really strong relationship at school. That might be the teacher, but it also might be someone like the cafeteria worker, the janitor, the receptionist. These are people who are at the school who probably work at a school because they love children. And so if we can get them connected with some of our most challenging students, when kids are in the classroom, maybe they are getting dysregulated, what if they took a break? Just a 5-minute break. The teacher can't do that. So what if we had then our little Billy go walk and talk and regulate with Mr. Steve, the janitor? And that would give that child a break, get them connected, get them re-regulated, and then put them back in the classroom to continue on with the academic lesson. Because our children have such a history of loss, rejection, and abandonment, they live in a state of fear, and so they need to be in connection. That means that when they're at school, if the classroom can become the family, it creates a lot of emotional safety. So if one student needs to stand up and take a break, then the other student can keep working. And it's not about, oh, that's not fair. It's simply that, well, this student needs a different set of priorities and circumstances and supports versus the other student. And so when kids are in an environment like that, they get it. They understand that my needs are going to be taken care of. And if Billy needs one different thing than I need, I'm okay. So what I hear a lot of times from teachers are like, well, I can't do that for every student. Well, the reality is you don't need to do it for every student. When you have a family environment, that kind of culture building can be very, very helpful. Traditionally, teachers and educators have looked at children from much more of a behavioral perspective rather than a regulatory perspective. And even the things that we've used in our schools to try to motivate children, like point charts or Fun Friday or stickers, these things can actually backfire with a lot of our students. So we have to look at their inability to feel good about themselves. Let's say you have the promise of Fun Friday. Let's say the rule is if you bring in your homework every single day, this week you get to go to Fun Friday, and that's for all the students. Well, now we have this child that's been impacted by trauma, this child that gets overwhelmed very easily, this child that doesn't know that they are worthy, that they are good, that they have this belief system that says, I'm stupid. So when they go home, they're tired, they're worn out, they're overwhelmed, they try to sit down and do their homework, and all of a sudden their brain is like a cobweb. They can't think. They just literally cannot even think. And so then they have this fear that says, well, if I can't get my homework done, I can't go to Fun Friday. I can't go to Fun Friday. I can't go to Fun Friday. And all of a sudden you have an explosion over homework. And they go to school and they don't turn in their homework. And then guess what? They don't go to Fun Friday. That only enhances their belief that says that they're the bad kid, that they're the bad student, that they're stupid. They see all the other kids going to Fun Friday, but then they're not going to Fun Friday. The threat of not going to Fun Friday is creating so much stress that they actually don't get the work done. Our motivators that have worked with our traditional children do not work with children who have been impacted by trauma. It completely flips them in the other direction. So I've had teachers take away that and say, you know what, you're going to go to Fun Friday. And if the student doesn't get their homework done, then they have the weekend to do it when they're a little bit calmer. And actually the ironic part of that is that they actually do get their homework done. Getting our children through school can be a very, very challenging task. Fear interrupts our children's natural love for learning, and all these other factors can block them being able to succeed academically. But you have to hold strong. Every moment that that child is going through a struggle is also a healing moment. It's a moment that that child can learn how to regulate, how to trust in the world again, and actually how to trust in themselves again to get back to that love for learning. Our kids want to learn. We just have to create the environment that provides them the ability to move forward despite their history, despite the fear, and you will see children grow in ways that maybe you never even expected. And that's the hope. That's where I want you to see that when you provide these really essential pieces, our children will come out in ways that you never expected, because that actually is the beauty of trauma. They develop themselves in amazing ways that they never would have before. So I just encourage you to hold on, stay the course, take care of yourself, and never, ever give up.